Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Mm-hmm. Guys, what an amazing day today is going to be. One of the greatest expressions that we have where we get to exercise our liberty, or at least the expression of it. Guys, getting out there and casting a ballot. Now, most folks around the wide world, what's really wild is this. When it comes to, these election cycles here in the United States, people from around the wide world are paying interest. Why? Because, guys, it's all about policy. Now, as far as the economy goes and this digital asset space and what, the Federal Reserve is doing with the money printing, guys, I don't think it's going to make a hoot of difference who's behind the desk, Resolute desk, when it comes to that. But, guys, there are a whole bunch of other issues on the table that are really, really going to make a difference, and big time policies and stuff like that. This is where, guys, you get out there and you get your voice heard. This is the one way the majority of us get to do it. And I'll tell you, the price that was paid so that that thing could fly and you and I could have that privilege to go out there and actually cast a ballot was too high to literally sit home and just do nothing. At least that's my estimation. And guys, I'll tell you, it is so wild when you see all that we're seeing out here. And today I'm reading an article. It was talking about the slump in U.S. manufacturing. And guys, that tells you all you really need to know. If you think the economy is actually improving and things like that, and yet you're watching demand for manufactured goods just drop off the cliff. And if manufactured goods aren't being made, then hey, all the supplies that were going to those manufacturers, those orders aren't going out there. And of course, you're not going to need as many workers when manufacturing is down and on and on. And guys, this is where we need a major turnaround. Now you got, all kinds of conjecture going out there. It is going to be wild. You have, even some, I saw one article where, I think it was, I forget which network it was, but needless to say, one of these networks was putting out there, they had actually taped, what they were going to, their election night coverage and things like that. And I almost thought this is absolutely crazy. And, they prepare on both sides, kind of like the newspapers. Remember how the newspapers used to go? They would actually print two sets or prepare two sets of, different newspapers with different headlines depending on who actually won the day. And that's kind of like what they're already doing. Well, one of those got leaked. It caused some embarrassment to the networks and things like that. Guys, it is really, really something else to see where we're at. Because when you think about it, these economies, these industrial powerhouses from around the world, of course, right here in the US, the UK, Germany, and all this and that. And yet, just in the last few years, how we have been decimated. Zero doubt about it. And if anyone really believes the economy is doing well, guys, they're not living in the real world. That is for sure, right there. Mm-hmm. And do we ever need to see a big time change? Now, one of the things, I guess, that is really out there, of course, is taxation, something we all know, hate, and know, and all this kind of stuff. And, you got some of these proposals that are being made to literally tax unrealized capital gains. And from my estimation, that is insanity 101. I mean, you think about that. I mean, the fact that you could literally not even realize a gain yet be taxed on that. And that kind of stuff is truly insane. Now, folks come out and say, oh, yeah, well, that's only for the big companies. Do you think that these big companies, if they were having to live under those kind of policies, they would vote with their feet? They'd pick up their boots and that manufacturing would leave. They would be gone. And that's how it would go. And then the cascading effects of all that. So yeah, it makes a big difference, when you're thinking down the road at what's coming and how it's going to affect, because look, I heard someone say this. When it comes to, reputation and things like that, well, that lasts, like personality, maybe 4 years, if you get lucky, 8 years and things like that. But policies can literally follow you for generations and have that kind of impact. And this is where you want to be out there and thinking. And I'll tell you what, boy, am I ever rooting for John Deaton out there in Massachusetts. And if you're in Massachusetts and you're in this digital asset space, you might want to really think long and hard about who you cast a ballot for. Because, guys, you got one side that's totally totally against this whole distributed ledger technology space, thinks we're all a bunch of tax cheaters and fraudsters and everything else, and somebody else that has literally gone to bat for us in a big, big way. And I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be too hard if I had the opportunity, to make a decision for me. At least that's what I think. Wow. Mm-hmm. But guys, like I say, this is one of the best and most exciting days in my estimation, where we literally get to exercise, that liberty, that freedom that, a lot of people have paid so that we could go out and do. And I know a lot of you are going to be out there standing in these long lines, and you're going to be going through that process. And I'll tell you what, I commend you for it. I commend you for it, because it is just so easy to take the apathetic approach and acquiesce, well, it's not going to make a difference anyway. And, I oftentimes think of that story. I've shared this once before, where the guy is on the shore and he's taking up starfish. He's throwing them into the sea. And this little kid comes along, this young kid comes along, he's looking up and down the beach, and he sees, literally thousands upon thousands of these starfish. And he's thinking, what difference does it make? And he says, the guy bends down, picks up a starfish, flings it in the sea, says, well, it made a difference to that one. Guys, just one vote can make a difference, guys. And that's what it comes down to. And it is a big, big, big time deal. Now, do I really believe it's going to make big changes with the Federal Reserve and things like that? Probably not. Why? Because the Federal Reserve, they exist to inflate, right? It's all about print, 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 print. It's just they're doing it faster and faster and faster than they ever have. And of course, diminishing the purchasing power of our dollars. But guys, I believe that's all part of the plan, because I believe they're actually doing it with intention to move us forward into this digital economy in a powerful way, and it is going to have major impacts. And this is where I genuinely believe, looking forward, is we're talking about one of the greatest wealth transfers in the history of mankind to come about. But guys, I'll tell you, it's going to make a difference, when it comes to a lot of these policies and the integration of this digital asset space, stablecoin legislation, FIT 21, Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, and all these other legislative policies. And one big one for this space is to get rid of old Gary Gensler sitting in there at the chair of the SEC. Absolutely. Wow. Mm-hmm. We need a change at the helm, zero doubt about it. And guys, I just want to say this. Get out there, do your part, exercise that liberty, and I'll tell you what, until later on, we're going to have an amazing, fabulous video for us later on today about this whole ecosystem and XRP. But guys, I didn't want to get too long on the tooth on it, but I'll tell you what, I am going to be watching with excitement. I'm sure a lot of folks are. Now, I'm not sure when all of the polls close, but usually after about 7 p.m. Eastern time, you can start seeing, results coming in and stuff like that. It's going to be really wild to see how this plays out. And I'll tell you guys, one thing that we're all about, or at least I hope we all are, and certainly I am, is liberty. Liberty, liberty, liberty. And the fact that we can literally get out there and have and cast that ballot and give our 2 cents is a major, major deal. Guys, don't squander it. It is just too precious. That's what I'd say. Anyway, guys, until later on, we have a fabulous video. Have a great one, and take care.